Oh boy. Right away, the third house is all over the place here. 3 is almost written like code, but like funny code where someone just has their finger on 3 on the keyboard and won't let it go. 3s could be extremely resonant for you. You could be seeing that a lot, seeing 333. It's relating to communicational energy, possibly incoming communication of some kind. But seeing 333 a lot for most of you is a huge confirmation you're in a recalibration window. Just really quick, too, a lot of you have been asking me what the hell this sticker means. And I think they're called emojis, and I keep calling them stickers. Who let me be in charge of a channel? I don't know. It's actually from a really old meme. And I'll link the video. It's just a funny guy salting something. And it was really popular at one time. So I'll link the video. It's kind of silly, but it became a meme. It was really popular. And that's what that is. Okay, so my little 3 babies, your nickname today is 3. There's a large contrast with this window of change that you're in, this recalibration window. You clearly are tackling some deeper layers in the psyche, and most people don't even touch these layers. So you're almost in this recoil state, this like state where the body is not used to instinctively accessing such deeper layers. So there's a lot of recoil, there's a lot of friction. And again, this is because they aren't easy layers of the psyche to work through, and you are subconsciously pulling them out. You're dragging them out to be resolved, doing very deep inner work at this time. I feel like a broken record, and some of you may feel like you keep saying this, but suspension states, liminal place, lots of the same word for the same thing. You're waiting for a release. You're waiting for relief, particularly. Some of you look to be fine in suspension. Like generally, you might be just comfy in this suspended state, but you know it's not going to last. But then there are some here that really are looking for relief. Something about their situation is just uncomfortable. This liminal space has been going on too long. The suspension is going on too long. Part of this discomfort here looks to be a mental looping. 3 here is showing me communication of past events, like triggering and digging up old memories, things you used to do, relationship habits, just in general, re-looping past stuff. So this re-looping, this digging up things that may have been weirdly coming up recently, like you feel past memories are coming up, they're surfacing, old habits are resurfacing, or you just feel like it's a theme, like you get over something and then all of a sudden it comes back, it wants to rehash with you. But the important part here of who this message is for is when these things resurface, when they're looping, you don't react like you used to, or at the very least, you're aware of it to some degree, like overly aware, whether it be positive or negative. But I see an older version of you was pulled by this 3 energy, was pulled by this communicational re-looping energy. The contrast here is really just showing me the change in you. The most profound part is that these things don't control you like they used to. They used to come up and sort of control you and direct you. These things coming up definitely still suck. I see that. You feel them, you're not comfortable by them, but you are not controlled by them in the same way. You might also just be a little annoyed by these things coming up. I see frustration or annoyance, like it's just annoying at this point, this resurfacing. So if you feel you're in a state where stuff like this keeps resurfacing or keeps looping, however it shows up for you, almost like an exhausting amount of resurfacing where it's a little bit absurd at this point, but you still move through it without reaction, or at the very least, not in the same way as you would in the past. This is your message. Welcome to your message, my little 3. Rather odd, but very specific. It's also kind of cute, like endearing. I don't know. Spirit showing me this is kind of cute. Some of you are what looks like struggling with sleep. That's not the cute part. It's just, I see like 3 a.m. is an important time for when this happens, this sleep struggle. Maybe not recently, but this is definitely reoccurring. You have a funny, cute little method. Either you've done it in the past and you'll know what I'm talking about. Like this is very specific to you. Will not fit for everyone. This is very unique. Some of you rotate in bed. So like at 3 a.m., let's say you're desperate and you can't go back to bed, you'll rotate. You'll put your head where your feet were, and sometimes that works and you go back to sleep. If that very, very specific thing resonates with you, you have a very specific message. There's what looks like a spiritual reasoning behind this. I will write something in the description, but just know it's coherence related. It looks like the subconscious is reshifting, like in those less aware periods or states where the subconscious is slightly activated. That's why it typically does work for you to rotate this way, and you don't really understand the impulse necessarily. I will write a message about that for you in the description more if more comes through. So this flipping around, this 180 rotation is rather important with this reading. I definitely see it's mirroring changes in your coherence or your coherent signaling. Coherence, for those of you who don't know, just in the basic way I could summarize it, is really just aligning your deepest self wants and what you actually do in daily practice. So aligning those two things together, and that's called coherence. So really just matching what you say you want and what you know you want with how you act. And it's very easy to not have full energetic coherence because it's hard. It's not easy. It's difficult. And most people have fragmented or pieces. They achieve slight coherence in certain aspects of their lives and not all their whole lives. It's not because certain people are like more powerful or healed. It's just hard to access every single part of your life and have full coherence. Like, we're human, we're flawed. It's difficult to always embody that every day. And there's a part of this too where there's deeper layers of the psyche that you have to do real shadow work in to access your full self and what your full self wants and desires. And people don't want to do shadow work. So I'm seeing here a lot of mental looping specifically, especially with the third house. If you don't feel like past things are necessarily coming up on a cognitive level or mentally, this could be this person attached to you that I'm seeing, and they're being forced to dig deeper in their psyche layers. There's definitely old mental loops or memories or thoughts coming through. They're resurfacing. They're asking for something on both ends here. And while they might be annoying, sometimes it's the psyche's way of communicating with our conscious self. So that might be happening here, definitely with you. I see, because deeper parts of the subconscious are waiting to be processed or pulled up. And if it isn't you, it's this person attached to you. I see the critical difference here is the amount for them. Like, their psyche has suppressed a lot more, and the psyche can only hold so much until it starts releasing into the conscious brain. So usually conscious repetition is a real thing that the psyche is flagging, whether on your end or on their end or both. But in your case, I really just see it signaling something to you to get further in your coherence. And for them, I kind of see it being much deeper fundamental layers that they have been ignoring their whole life. So for example, if like an embarrassing moment for you keeps looping, I see that for a lot of you is like something that was like out of your control, or you felt disrespected, and it keeps coming up into your thoughts. Like, you keep rethinking about this like incident, this event. I think the psyche here is asking for you to tell it that it won't happen again. And I know that sounds so silly. It's like almost like talking to it as if it's a separate child that you're protecting. This isn't your younger self. It's nothing like that. It's just by doing that one example that I'm being shown here, the psyche can grip onto that and can begin relaxing back into its release process. But it's like stuck on something that it can't fully resolve without you. That's what these looping thoughts are doing, is they need your help to relax back into release. I told you guys a long time ago that dreams are the result of the psyche working through things. Like, when the psyche cannot complete those things, it typically brings it up into the surface, into your conscious brain. So these feelings, like say you were embarrassed or something keeps resurfacing about how you were hurt or the past, you are being asked to explain to yourself, because your psyche is you, that it won't happen again in the same way. And here's why. And by doing that, it will allow your psyche or the subconscious processing to relax back into coherence, back into the deeper layers. But it's stuck on something. It doesn't feel like it's true. And it's asking for you to tell it that it's true. In a way. Now, of course, that won't be for everybody. Some of your thoughts here are not like directly tied to something you could necessarily control, but some of them are, in the sense where not picking these types of people, not being in these types of situations in the first place, and sort of like making that promise, that command to yourself that you will not ever be there again. If this is another person that embarrassed or hurt you specifically, and you're not dealing with the mental loops at this time, I don't really get that the kind of loop that they're asking for is reconciliation. It's more of like asking them to process the pain that leads them to hurt in the first place, which is much deeper. So it won't even really resemble you or like small situational experiences like what you're dealing with. It's like they might resurface older memories of like childhood, their parents, thoughts about things. And that's the link of what causes them to hurt people in the first place. It's clear here that, let me just say, you're both not on the same level. If it's you, if it's them, you're working through much deeper layers, and they are working on the beginning stages of even getting to where you could go. It's clear here, though, your guides are going to be testing you as you continue deeper and you keep getting more, let's call it sophisticated, because these layers don't usually get pulled up. And so the result of it is kind of like uncomfortable in a new way you haven't experienced yet. Okay. A lot here is looking like tests upcoming, like some tests from the universe. Some of you might feel that coming. For those of you who are tired of being tested and you don't understand why you keep getting tested and you're exhausted, and I hear a lot of reactions from you about this. I made a whole video explaining tests and the bigger purpose. So check that out if you're feeling overall discouraged about getting this message. Your guides don't want you to feel discouraged or tired. They don't want you to look at these tests as a bad thing. They want you to see it as graduations, as that you're doing the real work. Almost like you're ahead, but some of you are feeling behind when you get tested. Like it's just an ongoing, never-ending process. And so watch that video if you feel that way. That might help with feeling discouragement by it. So anyway, for those who resonated with this reading so far, it's looking like graduation is real, or at the very least, much different types of testing are coming through now. They don't resemble the hardships that you've been experiencing in lower coherent states. This type of testing is definitely more sophisticated. It is more peaceful. It doesn't disorient you. It doesn't blow up your world, make anything chaotic, but it does present as a gift from the universe that are almost perfect, that are just like almost what you want. And they will get progressively better each time you sort of reject them and say, no, it's not there yet type of behavior. Like, you're definitely not settling here like you used to. There's definitely much higher alignment gifts coming. For example, let's just ground this. So let's say, for example, the friends that you have mostly encountered in your life are the type that just fall off, or they burn you, or they just have low frequency behavior. Those aren't going to be the types of people that come into your life upcoming. You will more so get very coherent people, but they'll have one or two things that slightly feel a little bit off. They don't feel bad. They're not destructive. They're just slightly off. Like, it's almost everything you want in a friend or partner you will receive, but one or two things now is not correct, as opposed to in the past when it would just be they were blatantly destructive. It won't be anything like that anymore. So your test now, these more sophisticated coherent tests, are asking you if you will bargain with yourself. And bargaining with yourself here is like saying, okay, yes, I do feel something is off, but like they're everything that I ever asked for. Like, I have to tolerate at some level. And sort of like this mental narrative saying, okay, I need to tolerate. And so the coherence test is, most people, when they get to this high of coherence, they begin to believe that they have to at least tolerate somewhere. Like, now that it's gotten better and it's not completely destructive, they need to check themselves. They need to check in to see if they're asking for too much. And that's what your guides want to look at today and tell you, no, you're not. You're never asking too much, ever. You're never asking too much. The test here is no longer, okay, this is a really hard, disruptive person who fully shakes your world. It's less obvious than that. The test now is like an internal conflict. Like, am I asking too much? What point should I be tolerating? That's the bargaining we're talking about here, with like the difference between your high coherence and total coherence. Because you'll ask yourself, what is realistic? What am I asking for that is actually realistic with humans and life and problems? And the answer is, like, you get all of it and more. You get more than you even think. So you just have to get past this advanced place where you're starting to question the good you get, which it will feel disorienting because you're used to such destruction that, like, when you get even 90%, you'll say, okay, now I'm just being greedy. No, you're not. You get even more than that. And so I think it's hard to do because like we're all conditioned to some level to tolerate. In society, we're all conditioned to tolerate jobs, to tolerate family, to tolerate whatever else is fragmented because that's part of life. That's the narrative we tell ourselves. That's kind of how we keep ourselves in lower coherent states. So it's clear here that higher coherence tests are going to be what looks like relationship oriented for you because they're the ones that provoke you the most. So you're going to have people who come in the very near future that are almost exactly like what you want. They are on paper, these people blow your past out of the water. They're going to confirm to you that your signal is much, much, much higher and you are attracting better people now. And nothing that you did was a waste. All of that suffering, all of the pain, it was all for something. And you can see it now because higher people are finding you. But there's just going to be two things slightly off. There's going to be one or two small things. And you're going to say, do I settle or do I keep knowing that I get more? And so to be totally fair, settling here is not that bad. It's not going to disrupt you. It's just going to feel slightly off. And the universe is just asking you with this test, like more? Or are you good with this? Basically, both are very pleasant options. There's no comparison here to your past at all. It's very coherent. So your guides just want you to basically know today, you never have to settle. You never, never have to settle. It's all yours and more. And even if it feels like you're asking too much, that's never the case. You are never asking too much. I forgot to record an outro. So it is like 2 days later. I'm on my phone. This might sound different, so apologies. Who would I be if I didn't say that I loved you? I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. So I need to just tell you all to keep nudging me, keep sending me your comments, your energy. I guess the only thing that I would probably need to say is that I did get a very specific frequency for this message. I'm going to work on the free channel as well. I know that I've been slacking on that. Forgive me. I try to make everything neutral in the sense where, I offer things, but I also offer free alternatives. So I will be working diligently on both of those things. But for those who have sent me a little bit heavier of their energy, I definitely have a frequency for you, and that is in the description. And you are so loved, slightly salted or not. I love you all the same. And cheers, friends.